Hello everyone, today is 4th of September, now it's about 9:30 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update for the day in which I'll share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Most likely I will have a second update also later on today in the evening time. And that update will be probably in Alex Christoforou style, as I call it, or walk and talk video. I will go for a walk around streets of Moscow or maybe in some park. And we'll share all the additional news main news that will be reported by Russian media during the day. That being said, let's talk about news now. I hope you'll find both updates, by the way, first and second, informative and interesting. And well, that's been said, let's talk about news now. And first of all, I'll give you a shorter update on situation on Ukrainian battlefield. We have information that we are receiving information that Russian armed forces established full control over the Prichistovka settlement in Sovdanetsk sector of the front line. Prichistovka is located on the southern western flank of Ugledar city, and at the same time we are receiving reports about Russian progress on the southern eastern flank of Ugledar towards Vadiana settlement. Some Russian channels on Telegram are reporting that Russian troops established full control over the Vadiana already, which definitely going to be significant progress, because if you take a look at the map, it is becoming clear that Russian troops are conducting some sort of pincer movement to encircle Ugledar and cut main supply and support line of their Ugledar's garrison that connects this town to Bogo-Yavlinka settlement. But yet again, additional information is needed to make sure that Vadiana is definitely under Russian control. Probably Russian troops are already on outskirts of this settlement and conducting clearing operation there. But significant development for sure. Also, by the way, Russian troops continue progress on the southern flank of offensive operations on the southern flank of Pokrovsk sector. And reports are coming in that Russian troops establish control over the Zhelanaya Первая settlement, and some sources suggesting or reporting that Russian troops also establish control over the Zhelanaya second of Vторое settlement. And if true, then it does make sense. Reports on some media outlets here in Russia makes more sense now, because I saw this morning reports that Kyiv regime forces are withdrawing from this artillery pocket between Krasnogorovka and Zhelanaya Первая, and withdrawing chaotically without any order. Basically, they are trying to escape this artillery pocket before being completely encircled. Yet again, additional information is needed to know for sure what is going on. But if information about liberation of Zhelanaya Первая and Zhelanaya Второе is true, then as I said, it does make sense if Kyiv regime's forces are running away from these fields, basically towards Zaryana-Kurachovka direction. When it comes to central and the northern flanks of Pokrovsk direction, there was no reports about some crucial changes in these directions on the ground. Most likely Russian armed forces will take a couple of days after significant progress, very rapid progress, so probably a couple of days are needed now to establish new supply and support lines to receive some reinforcements to continue further progress. And of course, main directions of their offensives in this area is Mirnograd city and Pokrovsk, obviously. We have also reports, by the way, about Russian progress in Seversk direction. According to reports, Russian troops significantly improved their positions in Ivano-Darivka, Vimka, and Razdolivka from these directions, And according to latest reports, Russian troops are on the outskirts of Fyodorovka and Pereyaznaya. If true, of course, this is significant, but some sources once again are reporting that Russian troops already established control over both these settlements, Fyodorovka and Pereyaznaya. I'm not there, obviously, and therefore it is difficult for me to deny or confirm any of these reports, but even if Russian troops are now on outskirts of these settlements, that will be significant progress on its own. And this is, of course, southern flank of Seversk city itself. Let's see what military channels will report about it. They are specialized basically on the detailed analysis of developments on the ground, and they spend more time to collect all the information on that topics. And also, dear friends, reports are coming in about significant progress of the Russian armed forces in Kupiansk direction. Recently, as you know, Russian troops established full control over the Sinkovka settlement, battles for which was continuing for many months. But then just about a week ago, Russian troops conducted this lightning speed offensive, and Kiev regime's forces had no chance to maintain their presence in Sinkovka. So after establishing full control over the Sinkovka, Russian troops moved further westwards, and according to some reports, during the previous 24 hours, Russian troops advanced for at least 1.5 kilometers. And right now, from forward position of the Russian armed troops towards until Kupiansk is, I mean, just take a look at the map, by the way. It's maybe 2-3 kilometers, no more than that. Okay, 4 maybe, and that's it. So one should expect a battle for Kupiansk to begin in upcoming weeks. No crucial changes in Volchansk-Lipsy direction, which is northern part of Kharkov sector, where Russian troops are creating this buffer zone. And when it comes to Kursk salient, which is temporarily occupied by Kiev regime, Ukrainian propaganda outlets are still trying to push this narrative that invading forces of the Kiev regime and the NATO mercenaries are advancing in one direction or another. But I don't believe in anything that comes out of from Kiev regime and their propagandists. Therefore, I take information from Russian sources, and according to Russian military situation in this salient is under operational control of the Russian troops, and basically clearing operation is underway. Kiev regime still has enough troops in this area to at least try to conduct some to move around mobile armored groups, although, by the way, mostly Kiev regime's formations are now hiding in forestry areas and in small settlements that are, as I said, temporarily occupied. And on daily basis, by the way, on internet, dozens of videos are published about destroyed military personnel and equipment of the Kiev regime in settlements and also in forestry, by the way, mainly in the forestry, because they are trying to hide. And those videos quite often are so graphic that I'm not even sharing on my Telegram due to this, graphic stuff that is there. So in my understanding, operational control over around this salient is under Russian control, and clearing operation is underway. I have to say, by the way, I was mistaken when I said on initial stages of this invasion that Russian troops will most likely neutralize invading force in 3-4 weeks time. I have to admit, by the way, I was too optimistic at the time, because in 2 days there will be months since the beginning of this invasion. It started on 6th of August, isn't it? And still there are a number of settlements that are temporarily occupied by Kiev regime, but operational control is in Russian hands. And at least I was correct when I was saying that this area of the Kursk region will become a trap, deadly trap for Kiev regime's formations, because it is the case for sure. And Russian armed forces already demilitarized at least 4 to 5 brigades of the Kiev regime. According to Defense Ministry, by the way, Kiev regime already lost more than 9,000 military personnel in the Kursk salient, and up to 1,000 different types of military vehicles. So it is significant, isn't it? And one should keep in mind that Russian troops are demilitarizing and destroying strategical brigades from strategical reserve of their Kyiv regime. And the rumors are now that because Zelensky and his criminal associates and their Western masters realized that they're not gonna achieve anything in the Kursk direction with this invasion, because they were unable to force Russia to redeploy troops from other sectors of the front line, first of all from New York, Toretsk, and the Pokrovsk sectors, and because they realized that there is no way they're gonna reach Kursk nuclear power plant, which is located in the city of, on outskirts of the city of Kurchatov. Rumors are now that Kyiv regime is redeploying some of the brigades, whatever is left from those brigades that were initially participating in this offensive on the Kursk region, towards Toretsk and Pokrovsk sector. For example, 47th Brigade, which is, I'm not even sure that this 47th Brigade is still battle capable, by the way. But anyways, that's the all information that I'm sharing right now. Of course, as I already said, for more detailed information, more detailed analysis of developments on the line of contact, I recommend military channels, and I recommend, of course, channel of the Alexander Mercuris, host of Duran show, by the way, who provides us community with their greater analytics on developments on all the major developments in this world, including about Ukrainian crisis. And if you are not familiar, by the way, by chance, with military channels or channels of Alex Christoforou or Alexander Mercuris, hosts of Duran show, then under this video in description box I have a recommendation list, and you will definitely find links to their channels there. And well, I will continue now with some other news. RIA Novosti is reporting that according to Russian underground or pro-Russian underground or partisans on Kyiv controlled territory, in this particular case, according to Sergei Lebedev, coordinator of the pro-Russian partisans in Nikolaev region, during the nighttime, Russian armed forces conducted a long-range precise missile strike on airfield in Krivoy Rog area, and on that airfield there was intelligence information that there was MiG-29 fighter jet based for the time of the strike, and most likely that plane was destroyed, although of course we need a confirmation from Russian Defense Ministry that MiG-29 was destroyed. Also, we have TASS news agency's report about information that I already shared about progress of Russian armed forces for about 1.5 kilometers deep inside the defense lines of the Kyiv regime in Kupiansk direction. And I mean, yet again, in next couple of weeks time, we should probably expect battles for Kupiansk to begin. TASS news agency is also reporting that Russian armed forces TASS news agency, basically based on its own sources, sharing the public information about casualties on part of Kyiv regime during the yesterday's long-range precise strike on a training ground of the Kyiv regime in Poltava region, where specialists of the radio electronic warfare and also communication was trained by Kyiv regime and also by NATO instructors. And according to sources of the TASS news agency, Kyiv regime, as a result of this precise Russian missile strike, lost up to 300 military personnel, even more than 300 military personnel. Some sources are reporting that Kyiv regime lost at least 200 military personnel killed and up to 500 wounded. Although, by the way, I will go with a more conservative estimate from TASS news agency, which is reporting about some 300 military personnel that was lost by Kyiv regime. Although, by the way, we have additional information on this strike. Governor of Kherson region, Vladimir Saldo, reported, shared with public information that during this strike on a training ground in Poltava, foreign instructors were neutralized also. And even though Vladimir Saldo is not naming foreign instructors from which country, rumors start circulating on internet that this was a Swedish instructors that were training Kyiv regime's military personnel in communication and radio electronic warfare. No precise information about number of losses on part of these NATO instructors, but maybe later on we will learn some more information on that. Maybe Western media outlets will report about it. Sometimes that kind of stuff happens. Not very often, but sometimes they acknowledge that Western specialists being neutralized as a result of Russian strikes. Let's see if any additional information. Of course, I will share it on my Telegram channel in the next updates. Also, Vzгляд newspaper is reporting that Russian armed forces conducted long-range precise strike on in Zaporozhye, by the way, on a Grand Palace Hotel, which is located in Zaporozhye, and according to reports, up to 50 foreign instructors, foreign mercenaries, were located in that hotel. Yet again, no precise information how many of them were killed or wounded, but because almost the entire hotel was destroyed, and a number of casualties on part of these mercenaries or NATO personnel, I will say, must be significant. RIA Novosti is also reporting that US administration is considering to transfer to Kiev, formally to Kiev regime, in reality to their US military personnel in Ukraine, long-range cruise missiles, JASSMs, that have range of 400 kilometers, I believe. And well, this is definitely a step towards further escalation, isn't it? Whenever Western propaganda outlets are beginning to speculate about deliveries of this or that weapon system, usually this is just a preparation of the ground for what about to happen, or maybe even already happened, and who knows, these missiles could be in Ukraine already, right, in Kiev controlled territory. Well, some experts are saying that this is a huge step towards escalation. Some experts are trying to downgrade this development because according to them, JASSMs are not much better than British Storm Shadow cruise missiles or Scalp PG cruise missiles from France, that are made in France. Although it seems like everybody is agreeing that the range of these US missiles are a bit longer. If Storm Shadow and Scalp PGs are, have a range about 300 kilometers, according to reports, then this US-made missile has a range of 400 kilometers, and with some modernization, this range may increase. And also, range depends on speed and altitude, isn't it, of their launching vehicle, plane in this particular case. If let's say fighter jet from which these missiles are launched is on high altitude, let's say 10 kilometers, of course, range will be longer in that case than if this missile is launched from let's say 2 kilometers height, right, because of the density of their atmosphere. But in any case, Russian officials already are reporting on this development, and Russian ambassador in US, Anatoly Antonov, made issued yet another warning to US administration that they will face some direct consequences if they will lift restrictions on the strikes of deep inside Russian territory by US or NATO weapon systems. As I said in my second update yesterday, I'm struggling to understand all this warning diplomacy, what Russian officials mean under phrase strikes deep inside Russian territory, or what they mean when they say if US will lift restrictions on strikes deep inside Russia, because these strikes already happening and Western weapon systems being used to target Russia for quite a while now, including in the Kursk region, by the way. After all, Russian Defense Ministry itself is reporting that Russian militaries destroyed at least 6 US-made HIMARS multi-launch rocket system, which has a range with its own missiles range up to 150 kilometers, and these launchers, HIMARS launchers, can be used to launch ATACMS missiles also, US-made ballistic missiles, right? So it is obvious that US and Western missiles being used, the weapon systems being used for strikes deep inside Russian territory, and that's why I am struggling to understand what Russian officials mean with these constant warnings. I mean, they already are targeting Russia. So what restrictions you are talking about? There is no restrictions, by the way. Maybe Moscow is waiting before these long-range strikes will happen on Moscow itself. I don't know. And maybe after that, Moscow will start, Russian leadership will start retaliating with extreme force. I have no idea, by the way, but me personally struggling to understand what these warnings are all about, really. I mean, too many warnings, really. RIA Novosti is reporting that Germany plans to transfer 6 Irish-T air defense systems to Kyiv regime, and simultaneously Bundeswehr is plans to buy 6 similar type of air defense systems. Basically, Bundeswehr is now transferring its own weapons from its own stockpile. Not even stockpile, by the way, weapon systems that the German army is using right now. And that's why 6 Irish-Ts will be transferred, and another 6 will be purchased to replenish this loss. It's crazy, by the way. What's happening with the Western states is craziness. Many governments in collective West quite effectively are demilitarizing their own armed forces, and Germany is, of course, leading this charge. TASS news agency is also reporting that UK's leadership managed to accumulate some 1.3 billion US dollars or 1 billion pound approximately to support Kyiv regime. This money, according to British officials, comes from some donors. Who those donors are, and their decision is made by London to transfer 300 million pounds or 395 million US dollars to Kyiv regime for purchasing some artillery shells. I mean, Western ruling class, as I said, Western ruling class will do whatever it takes to prolong this proxy war against Russia as much as they can, and they will sacrifice every single citizen of Ukraine for this. And that's what they are doing, by the way. RIA Novosti is reporting that Hungary, being hosting presidency in EU, removed their topic of their stealing of the Russian assets, frozen Russian assets, from discussion in upcoming summit of their permanent representatives of the EU member states, which is quite interesting. This move from Budapest, which is clearly demonstrates that Hungary's government don't even want to spend any time on discussing stealing of the Russian assets. This move definitely gonna make even more crazier Brussels bureaucracy. Well, I guess some very strong statements are about to be delivered by all these crazies, by the way. Ursula Burstula, washing machine, Morel, and the rest of the garbage there in Brussels. RIA Novosti is reporting that according to Ukrainian propaganda outlets, so-called foreign minister of Ukraine, Dmitry Kuleba, is about to be removed from the office, and he might be replaced by his deputy, Andrei Sibigu. When I see this news, by the way, first thought that came to mind was recent escalation between Warsaw and Kyiv due to some crazy statements of Kuleba when he was in Poland, and basically he basically stated that Ukraine has some territorial claims on Polish eastern regions, and he also basically tried to glorify Ukrainian Nazis simultaneously, and these statements didn't go well in Poland, and even this extremely Russophobe Polish leadership, political class, was forced to basically make some strong statements towards Kyiv regime and issue some strong warnings, despite the fact that Warsaw is doing whatever it can to further prolong this proxy war against Russia because of their hatred towards Russians, by the way. Polish leadership is, complete Russophobes, by the way. You cannot even imagine level of hatred that is in these individuals, Polish leadership, by the way. But still, they had no option but to go after Kyiv regime because of the public's reaction. Because Polish people, I would not say majority, I have no statistics, but significant number, I guess, of the Poles do remember all the crimes that was committed by Ukrainian Nazis during the Second World War, when tens of thousands of Polish people were massacred by Ukrainian Nazis, and also thousands of Jews, thousands of Russians, thousands of all the other people that Ukrainian Nazis were targeting. Even Ukrainians, by the way, that were opposing this massacre of the innocent. So yes, maybe Kulebo's resignation has something to do with his crazy statements in Poland and Warshaw's protests. It is possibility. Also interesting news that Ukraine suspends drone chief accused of Russian ties. So Ukraine has suspended the chief of staff of its drone forces following reports that his family lives in Russia. Their decision was made after a meeting of the Verkhovna Rada Security Committee. The General Staff wrote a statement on the Telegram on Tuesday evening. It said that Ukraine's top general Alexander Syrsky has decided that the Security Service of Ukraine, SBU, will conduct an additional special inspection with regards to Roman Gladky, the chief of staff of their unmanned system forces. Gladky will be suspended from his official duties for the duration of their inspection, the general staff added. Okay, let these rats eat each other, by the way, in a Kyiv regime. It's all good. And dear friends, before I continue, let me notice, if I may, that this small media project of mine is completely subscriber funded. These channels on YouTube, Rumble, on Telegram, and I will be immensely grateful if you will consider to support my work and this project with small donations through PayPal or Boosty platform, by the way, or by subscribing to my Patreon page or Boosty page, where I have quite a lot of bonus videos, not just about news and politics, but also about life in Russia. And I have plans to make more and more bonus videos, by the way, extra content for our communities on Patreon and Boosty. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. Of course, my Patreon page is much more developed than Boosty because I started working on Patreon quite a while ago, and on Boosty only after my account was blocked by Me Coffee platform. But anyways, all the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. I will just note that subscription on my Patreon, monthly subscription, starts from $5, and monthly subscription on my Boosty platform, Boosty page, starts from about $6, 500 rubles, basically. So yes, I hope you will join our community, because without your support, of course, this project would not exist. And many thanks to all the members of our community who supported and who continues to support my work and this project. Truly grateful for giving me this unique opportunity to work in this field of news and political commentary. That's been said, let's continue with some additional news. Interfax is reporting that according to White House, Israeli leadership is agreeing now on a partial withdrawal of their forces from Philadelphia corridor. And Philadelphia corridor is an area borderline basically between Gaza Strip and Egypt. Yesterday and the day before yesterday, there was reports from Israel that Netanyahu's government is absolutely against losing control over the Philadelphia corridor. Now, White House is making this statement that Israeli government agrees on partial withdrawal. It's really difficult to say what's going on, but all these topics, by the way, about peace negotiations and all these talks about ending the hostility, at least from US and the Israeli side, there definitely looks like an attempt to just fool entire world, because if US and Israeli leadership truly wanted to end the hostility, then they could do it long time ago, right? And it seems like more and more citizens of Israel are realizing that. And that's why last several days, huge demonstrations, by the way, are taking place in Israel, when hundreds of thousands of people are demonstrating and demanding from Israeli government real steps to be taken to end the hostility and to achieve release of their hostages. Let's see how will situation develop further, but there is no trust, by the way, for any statements that comes out from White House or from Israeli government. That's for sure. And also there is no trust, don't get me wrong, by the way, there is no trust also on Hamas, obviously. But when it comes to ending the hostility, of course, US and Israeli leadership are in position to make crucial decisions, right? As far as I understand, whatever is left from Hamas and current leadership of that group is agreeing on ending of hostility, because they've been decimated quite effectively, right? They've been defeated, somewhat defeated militarily, not completely, but in terms of ideology, I guess Israel is losing, because after so many innocent people being killed as a result of in Israeli military operation in Gaza Strip, I guess thousands and thousands and thousands of survivors, relatives of the killed innocent people, will most likely join the ranks of Hamas or whatever other resistance group will operate in that area. So ideologically, strategically, Israel is losing, but in terms of military, right now, of course, I guess Hamas was not completely defeated, but Hamas has taken some significant losses, let's say this way. RT is reporting, and that's why Hamas is, in my understanding, is for ending their hostility, because they want to survive, right? But Israeli leadership seems like they don't want to end this hostility, because they want to move main phase of this military operation into the West Bank now, and eventually maybe force all the locals in Gaza Strip and the West Bank to flee these territories. In case of Gaza Strip, into Egypt. In case of West Bank, to Jordan. Maybe that's their plans that Netanyahu's government has. I don't know. But if they wanted to end hostilities, they would do it already. RT is reporting that India considering Russian SWIFT alternative to trade settlements, according to media, which is the huge deal, isn't it? The Reserve Bank of India is considering to use of Russian alternative to the Western SWIFT financial messaging system for rupee-ruble trade settlements. Business Line has reported the system for the transfer of financial messages, SPFS Russian system, was set up by Russian Central Bank after the country was cut off from the Belgium-based SWIFT network as a part of Ukraine-related sanctions. According to the report on Tuesday, while discussions with the financial institutions are ongoing, India's banking regulator considers their SPFS, Russian SPFS, as a good way to make trade settlements more expedient for both countries. There have been meetings between senior officials from the RBI and some public sector banks with their counterparts in Russia on their country's proposed alternative messaging system for banks. There is a view in the RBI that the proposal is double. A source familiar with their discussions told the Business Line. Proposal is doable. There is a view in RBI that the proposal is doable. Source familiar with their discussions told the Business Line media outlet, and this is a big deal, by the way, of course, because if India's first tier or second tier banks even will join this Russian PFS system, alternative to the SWIFT, of course, many other countries will follow. Right now, if I remember correctly, 20 countries are already connected with the Russian alternative to the SWIFT, and if India will join, that's gonna be big, man. That's gonna be huge, obviously. So, well, good luck to both sides, by the way, to end their negotiations on a positive note, and after all, it will benefit both sides, right? It will benefit both countries, businesses from both countries. So it's all good. I hope India will join, and then many other countries, especially from global south, by the way, and then from rest of the world. The TASS news agency is reporting that Prime Minister of Malaysia most likely will announce interest of this country to join the BRICS during his visit to Russia, and his participation to ongoing Eastern Economical Forum that is taking place in Vladivostok, Russian Vladivostok, right now in the far east of the Russian Federation. Let me show you, by the way, on the map. Russia is huge, isn't it? So this is Vladivostok, by the way. Where is the Vladivostok? That's Vladivostok. I get confused at one point. I was thinking, come on, man, I cannot be mistaken on that. So this is Vladivostok, by the way, of course, not far away from North Korea and China, obviously, and Vladivostok is hosting from 3rd to 6th of September this Eastern Economical Forum, and Malaysia's leader will be there, and most likely he will announce that Malaysia wants to join BRICS, which is a big deal. Because Malaysia is a country with a strong economy and significant influence on the global south, right? Interfax is also reporting, and I will end this update on this news, that according to analytics of the Russian Central Bank, there is some indicators that Russian economy's overheating is slowing down a little bit. consumer demand is dropping slightly. Also, banks, there is predictions that banks will give lesser loans this year, which is combined makes good enough basement for economy to slow down a little bit, to cool down a little bit, which is in this particular case, by the way, good thing when economy is overheating. And well, once again, as I said many times before, who would think, isn't it, that after over 20,000 sanctions that collective West imposed on Russia, after all this pressure and negativity that was created by collective West, Russian economy, instead of being destroyed, will experience huge growth and will be overheated. But that's exactly what is happening, and that's why analytics of the central bank are kind of happy that consumer demand is dropping a little bit, and less loans will be given by banks this year, which will create at least good create possibility that economy will stop overheating, which is good, of course. And this information, by the way, if statistics will show that economy is stopping to overheat, then probably central bank will not raise interest rates anymore. Let's hope so, because I mean, this is life, isn't it? Sometimes you need to take a loan, and right now loans are just too expensive, by the way. And yes, this is it for now, by the way. Hopefully you will find this update informative and interesting, useful, maybe somewhat entertaining. That will be good. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything, any topic. This is the only way we can try and influence algorithm to reach wider audience. And for very same reason, if you can, please share information about my channel with your friends in real life or on internet, on any of the platforms that you're actively using. And finally, if you like my work, if you want to support, you can do it through PayPal, Boosty, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. All the links are under this video in the description box and in the pinned comment. This is it for now. Have a great day, and see you in next update. Take care.